Okay, so let's take a look at the artist. So this is level 1. We are just making a simple square. And like I said before, the artist is all about drawing for a certain number of pixels, so moving forward for a certain number of pixels, and that draws lines like that. That draws lines. And then turning by a certain number of degrees. So you kind of have to think and know about what sorts of degree turns certain shapes are. If you know anything about geometry, you should know, hopefully by now, that a square has 90-degree angles. But there's a way to kind of check that out in the artist, which is pretty simple. If you go in here and you look at all the different degrees, we're looking for this image of the degrees to match kind of what we see on his square there, right? So if this image of the degrees, you know, like 120 is obviously not the same as the corners of the square. 180 is a turnaround, right? 45 is obviously not the corners of the square. It's got to be 90. So that picture can help you too sort of decide, does that match the turns, the corners in the shape you're trying to use or not, or trying to make or not. So anyways, for this one, you literally just do move forward, turn right for each one of the sides. So I've got two sides now, two pairs of move forward and turn right, so I just need to keep going with this. And the thing is, I happen to know that you don't need to turn one last time. We got one turn here, one turn here, one turn here, and by the time he gets up here, he's done. But we don't need that last turn forward. Or turn right. There we go. That's puzzle 1. Puzzle 2. Well, look what he says here. Draw this diamond with 120 and 60-degree angles and 150 pixel long sides. So typically, guys, please read the instructions on this one, especially because he's typically telling you the angles of the turns and how long the sides are and things like that. So that helps a lot. So yeah, that side is that. So 120 and 60-degree turns. Okay, so once he gets down there, he's got to turn left, I think, by... Let's think about this. 120 might be his... Yeah, that looks right. Let's see. Alright, so I'm doing it. So if this sharp corner here at the bottom, the one I'm drawing, is the 120-degree turn, then I'm going to guess that the 60-degree angles must be these less sharp corners. Okay? So with that in mind, right, with all these details that I've given you so far, you should be able to complete the rest of this one on your own. Let's keep moving. Artist number 3. Can you draw this hexagon with 100 pixel sides and 60-degree turns? I'm not sure why they haven't given us a repeat block by now, but that's okay. He's going to need to turn right when he gets to the end of that. When he's here, he's got to turn right and 60-degree turns. And this should just be that over and over. So we know we'll need 6 move forwards, and that probably means we'll need 5 turns between the move forwards, okay? But it's literally, all I would do if I sat here and completed this is make more of these over and over. Move forward, turn, move forward, turn, move forward, turn, move forward, turn, and you would just do that until he completes the hexagon. And that is all of it. Just to show you. Yep. So that looks like it's starting to work. So you guys can complete that one too. Alright, so this next one's really simple. We've got a repeat block. So what this says is, now you've got a new block to play with, the loop. This will repeat a set of commands. So what happens if you loop these commands? So it's the exact same puzzle as the last time, but now we've got these gray blocks. And like I've told you guys before, when they give us gray blocks, they want us to use them. So we don't just move these out of the way and do our own thing. They're saying, what happens if you loop these commands 6 times? So let's take these commands and loop them 6 times. That's how easy that level is. Yep, and that's going to beat it. Moving on. How many times do you need to loop this diamond to draw the flower? So they're showing us 1 diamond, is that right? Okay. And how many of those diamonds are in the flower? Well, literally, all you got to do is count the petals. Or even better, just count half the petals and then times that by 2. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 2. Wow, that's all that one takes. Moving on. They're saying you'll need a 30-degree turn after your diamond loop. Oh, so again, let's read the instructions. You can loop that whole sequence, they're talking about this whole sequence in the gray, 12 times to draw the flower. Okay, so they want us to take this whole gray thing with the repeat and everything and put it in another repeat. Another repeat. And how many times do they say to loop it? 12 times. And then it says you'll need to turn 30 degrees after your diamond loop. So turn, I don't think it matters which way we turn. Turn by 30 degrees, right? Oh, and look, they've changed the turn so you can choose whatever degree you want. I bet that does it. I bet that does the whole thing. I'm not going to hit play because I want you guys to try for yourselves. Moving on. Loop this hexagon 6 times to create the design. So here's the only thing that's tricky about this, because otherwise it's the exact same as the last one. Loop this hexagon code, so we take this whole code and put it in another repeat, just like we did last time. And we loop it 6 times, they're saying. And they say, how many degrees will you need to turn each time? So the way to figure that out, they're telling us, is to divide the number of degrees in a circle. And if you don't know what that is, you can always go to Google. Degrees in a circle. And it's going to tell you. But hopefully you guys have learned by now that it's 360 degrees. A full circle is 360 degrees. And they're saying if we take and divide that by the number of times you are looping by 6, then we'll get our angle. So that's probably right. 360 divided by 6. That shouldn't be too hard to do, but I'm just going to use a calculator to make sure I don't mess up. But every time he completes one of these hexagons, he's supposed to turn a little bit and go to the next one. And so you have to put in the right degrees right here so that he turns a little bit and goes to the next one. Okay. Moving on. So we have a function this time, the draw a flower function. We used functions in Minecraft's Hero's Journey, but just remember a function is just a container with a name, and to make that all the code in that container run, you call out the name like that. We know we need to draw 3 flowers, so we could bring those all out now. And there's a new block. Look at what it says here in the instructions. Use this and the new jump block to draw these flowers. When he's done with one flower, which way is he facing? It's kind of hard to tell, but I think he's facing down. So if I jump forward and then draw another flower, is he going to draw one straight below? Boy, that's hard to tell. Yeah, it looks like he was actually already facing the right side. So sometimes you actually have to tell him to jump forward a little and then jump, and then turn and jump again, right? So he would jump like this way, straight to the side, and then straight down, or straight down and then straight to the side. But it looks like he was already facing a diagonal. So as long as we get this jump number right, oh, it says what the number is in the hint. It says what the number is in the hint. So you literally just do draw a flower, jump, draw a flower, jump, draw a flower. That's all you'll need to do to finish this one. Moving on. Here's a function called draw shaped. Man, this is very complicated. Run the code to see what it does, and then experiment with the function to see what happens. Okay, that's super cool. So what they're saying is, play around with the function down here. Don't mess with the rest of the code, they're saying, but just play around with the function and see if you can get it to draw all sorts of other cool stuff. I'm guessing you could actually get this thing to draw like stars and all sorts of neat stuff, as long as you figured out what the angle should be. Yeah, that angle's not quite right, and a star you should only repeat 5 times, I think. Ooh, I'm getting close. Now go ahead and make whatever picture you'd like. Okay. So both of these last two are really just about experimenting. But just remember that on this number 9, when you're experimenting, you're only really supposed to experiment with the function. You're not supposed to mess with the rest of the code up here. Although, you know, if you know what you're doing, you kind of can look at this code and see what it's doing. You could play around with it a little bit, right? Okay, so have fun with those last two. That's the end of the artist.